Well, good evening, everyone in France and Europe and all the rest of it. It's about 10:25 p.m., I believe. Certainly in France it is, and it's about 9:20 here in the morning on the 28th of December. So yeah, we didn't get a tracker up last night, 7 o'clock, because we were out with the team and sitting on a boat and waiting for Abolish to turn up. We took off about 9 o'clock in the morning in the boat, thinking he was doing 8.2 knots and got stalled, as you've probably already seen. So by the time we got back to the marina back here, it was sort of midnight, and by the time we finished up, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So we didn't get a chance to get anything up last night, but I thought I'd just get one out of sequence. We'll be back again tomorrow morning, I believe, at about the usual time, 7 o'clock. But now, Kirson's in the blow and a few other things happening, so I thought I'd just quickly update everyone on what's happening real time live right now on the tracker. Guy is doing 6.1 knots. He's done 111 miles during the day, the last 24 hours rather, so that's not too bad. He's happy with that. Elliot's still making time, doing okay, making 3.9 knots, looking after his mast in pretty good weather. Ian Herbert Jones just bouncing off the no-go zone there. He's nearly out of it, making 6.6 knots with a good northwesterly. Looking okay. Jeremy's sailing along conservatively, had a bit of breeze. He'll be happy to have a bit of a rest, making 3.4 knots, towards Hobart in a direct line. Michael, Captain Goog, doing 6.9 knots, plenty of breeze from the southwest there and a reasonable sea as well. So that's all pretty good, and it's pretty benign, the weather here, but we'll just quickly, I'll drop this down just to do a quick update on everyone here. I'll leave Goog till later, so you can see the systems that are rolling through. It's pretty benign all the way along the top here, and I think that's the way it'll be for the next few days. So here we go, the next 12 hours, not a lot happening. There's a bit of wind coming behind Guy there, so that'll push him along quite nicely. Elliot's going to fall in a hole. Ian's got beautiful southwesterlies, nothing strong. Probably 25s and 30s, quite mild. Same with Jeremy, he's got breeze, not stuck in the holes. This is through to the 29th, so generally Elliot's the only one that's going to miss out there. He's going to fall into a hole and go slower again, which is unfortunate. So okay, so we can leave that. Oh, the other thing, just to remind people, if you see a glitch in the daily runs, if you see a sailor on the leaderboard that's doing 300 miles in a day or 400 miles, it's wrong. Usually the glitches are fixed within 24 hours. Because I just took a lot of emails and comments about, there's a problem with the tracker, Yellow Brick do a great job, but every now and then a gremlin sneaks in, so don't despair, it'll correct itself pretty quickly. And in fact, before we get on to the leaders, let's look at what the leaderboard is saying. Simon's obviously up at front there, 123 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Kirson's done 118 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, sitting in second, and Abolish 24 miles in the last 24 hours because he's now at anchor, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Captain Goog, 140 mile in 24 hours. That's pretty cool. Jeremy, 103, 131 Ian Herbert Jones. Elliot's 109. And Guy trundling along as a Chichester, 111. So all looking pretty good, and as we expect. So coming along here, we'll just blow this up and look at the weather that's happening. So Michael has got the strong solid southwesterly for the last couple of days. He's been actually closing in on the three lead pack pretty consistently. So his distance now from Hobart is roughly, I got to hit that there, hit that here, roughly 480 nautical miles. So that's going to be 3.5-4 days. Normally you'd say it's about 4 days. You never know what's going to happen at the bottom of Tassie. You've seen what's happened to the other three. You always get affected by nominal weather and so on. So I'd say he's probably going to be maybe 4 days away, possibly 5 by the time he gets in. So 4 to 5 days. So that's 28, 29, 30, 31. 1st or 2nd. Yeah, 1st or 2nd of January is probably a reasonable expectation for Captain Goog. I should say Yannick and Ada from Les Sables d'Olonne are in a plane right now trying to rush here, but I think they're going to miss. They're not going to arrive they'll arrive just after Abolish leaves, which is disappointing for them. But anyway, this is the quickest they could get across, so we look forward to seeing them very soon. And okay, so we'll get rid of that one. Come back to the weather, and yeah, Kirsten's in the thick of it at the moment, and it's quite windy where she is. There's a couple of different computer models are suggesting she's getting gusts over 50 knots, constant sort of 35s, 40s, and a pretty solid sea. You know, maybe 4 or 5 meters with the occasional 6 and 7, all coming from the north, and confusing some of the wave patterns with the usual regular southwesterly or westerly swell as well, so that's quite interesting. But she seemed comfortable on the tweets. She just sent in that she'd seen the southern aurora, the southern lights last night, so that's a bit of fun for her. But she's seen a bit of them in the past, but it's good to see they're around now. And anyway, Simon roaring along 7.7 knots. He's not got the full brunt of this strong northerly now, but it's going to build a little bit more for him. And as you can see, Kirsten's in the thick of it, doing 7.8 knots, so she's certainly not slowing down, and she's taking it on the port quarter. She's not running before it, so that's an indication that maybe it's manageable at the moment, not super extreme. You sort of get that sometimes with these northerlies. It's still heavy, very heavy, but a northerly doesn't seem to set up the big rolling swells from the north. You know, they usually come from the southwest, so we look forward to hearing what happens there. Abolish is at anchor still at Kingston Beach, planning to leave any time from now, really, because he's waiting for this wind to go from the northwest. It's quite windy out there. When I look out the window, it's blowing 20 knots, 25 knots in here inside the river, and it's going to swing very quickly across to the southwest, so we'll just roll this through and see what's happening. So this is the weather for now. You can see it's scheduled to roll any minute. We're right on the transition, and even though it's still showing 20 knots or so outside, this is the lighter zone. I'll just pick this up a bit more. We're right in between the transition, so it's a little bit light here, and it's going to swing to the northwest, and then slowly the west, and then the southwest. So that was part of Abolish's game plan. We had a lot of local weather forecasts here on the VHF radio, and he was getting all of that, and their team, Sandy, has given him some pretty good weather. We'll be seeing him again this afternoon. We just spoke to Sandy. She's got a rib, so don't have to swim now to get the films and so on from Abolish. So that'll be kind of cool. And rightio, so let's see what's going to happen to everyone as we roll it through. So this is 1 hour. This is midnight tonight, UTC, and it's slowly moving south and east. So Simon might miss the brunt of it, and Kirsten in the next 3 or 4 hours it'll start to back off pretty quickly. The wind will die down and slowly transition over the southwest and hold pretty strong, but slowly getting better and better. So that's kind of cool. We missed out on Goog there. This is within 12 hours. So if I come back here, you can see what's happening. It's heading down below them, going across. So that's kind of cool. And they're still pretty much on the run line, making pretty good speed. Kirsten's still within touch. For sure with Simon, and this is the good news. As you can see, they're both in the same weather pattern, about 170 miles behind Simon, heading towards New Zealand. And to give an indication, Kirsten is now about on the run line, let's see, 220 miles from Hobart. So by the time Abolish leaves in the next probably in the next 8 hours or so, she'll probably make another 40 miles, so Abolish will be about 260 miles behind, which is pretty good considering the way he approached and so on. So that was kind of cool. All right, so I think that's pretty much covered all that. Sorry we didn't get the usual tracker update on time last night, our time here, but we'll be back on again at 7 o'clock tonight, so that's in about 7, 8, 9 hours. 9 hours we'll come back again and give you an update. Oh, one thing I will show you before I go is the windy weather. This is the ECMWF model. It's showing, that's where Kirsten is right now, showing 34 knots there, and if we go into wind gusts, it's showing about 45 wind gusts, and in fact, it sort of varies, 45, 50 knots, so that's about right. Just to show you the contrast, we go back to wind, we go to the GFS model, and it's showing a little bit more wind, but pretty similar, but their gusts are substantially higher. They're showing gusts, up around 65, even 70 in some parts. So, that's why it's hard to say exactly what they're getting. Sydney Hobart boats, they're having a great ride. They're roaring down from Sydney into Hobart. The winner got in a couple of hours after Abolish last night, and now there's boats arriving all the time. So, okay, that's it. So we'll see you shortly.